You think the 1967 pony car war was just Camaro versus Mustang? Think again. There was a secret rebellion happening right inside General Motors. The 1967 Pontiac Firebird 400 wasn't built to be the Camaro's sidekick. It was built to be its superior. While Chevy followed the script, Pontiac, led by the legendary John Z. DeLorean, tore it up. They took the shared F-body platform and engineered an ambush. This car was packed with sophisticated tech, hidden power, and clever engineering that made the Camaro look basic. This wasn't a clone. It was a silent, calculated takedown of its own corporate sibling, the high-tech base engine. When you think base model pony car in 1967, you probably picture a simple, sluggish, six-cylinder engine. It was the budget option. Both the Mustang and the new Camaro used basic old-school overhead valve, or push rod, inline sixes. They were reliable, sure, but they were profoundly boring. Pontiac, under John Z. DeLorean, refused to follow suit. Instead, the standard engine in the 1967 Firebird was Pontiac's own single overhead cam, SOHC, inline six. Let that sink in. In the mid-60s, an overhead cam engine was truly exotic, high-tech machinery for a mainstream American car. This was the kind of sophisticated engineering you'd expect to find under the hood of a European sports car, like a Jaguar or an Alfa Romeo, not in the entry-level version of a new pony car. Unlike a traditional pushrod engine, the SOHC design places the camshaft right over the cylinder head, directly operating the valves. This allows for far better engine breathing, higher RPM limits, and improved performance characteristics. This wasn't just a marketing gimmick. It meant the base Firebird was inherently more advanced and offered a totally different, more refined driving experience than the base Camaro. It instantly signaled that the Firebird wasn't just a rushed copy. This single choice set the entire sophisticated tone for the Firebird. The single block 5.8 strategy. In the 1960s, every major automaker treated engine size like a hierarchy. Small blocks were for affordability and efficiency. Big blocks were for brute force power. Each required its own casting, tooling, and engineering considerations. Pontiac, however, refused to follow that formula. Instead, it developed a single universal V8 block design that could be bored and stroked to create anything from a modest 326 to the mighty 400 cubic inch power plant used in the Firebird 400. The physical dimensions stayed the same, only the internal measurements changed. This engineering decision brought several advantages. It simplified manufacturing, reduced costs, and made performance upgrades easier for enthusiasts. More importantly, it meant every Pontiac, no matter the trim, had the potential to share the same muscular heart. The Firebird didn't need special mounts or re-engineered engine bays to fit a larger motor. Everything just worked interchangeably. This approach also gave Pontiac's cars a signature driving feel, abundant low-end torque, and consistency were across models. In a company often seen as General Motors' performance rebel, the single-block strategy perfectly reflected Pontiac's philosophy. One platform, endless potential. The GTO's engine. The top dog of the 1967 lineup was the Firebird 400, Pontiac's direct challenger to Chevrolet's mighty Camaro SS 396. It even looked the part, distinguished by its aggressive dual-scooped hood. To give it the firepower it needed, Pontiac dipped into its own parts bin and grabbed the best engine it had, the 400 cubic inch V8 straight out of the legendary GTO. Logically, this should have created a lighter, faster car with the same horsepower as the GTO, which was rated at 350 horsepower. But when the Firebird 400 launched, the official spec sheet listed its power at only 325 horsepower. This wasn't because of a major internal engine difference. It was a deliberate, almost comical handicap. To protect the GTO's reputation as the division's performance king, Pontiac engineers installed a small tab on the carburetor linkage. This tab physically blocked the throttle from opening all the way, preventing the engine from reaching its full breathing capacity and artificially lowering its output. To make things even more unclear, Pontiac offered a very rare Ram Air package. This option made the hood scoops functional and included a much more aggressive, high-performance camshaft. Despite these significant power-adding upgrades, Pontiac still rated the Ram Air engine at the same 325 horsepower. Firebird front-end distinction. The 1967 Firebird, while sharing the F-body platform with the Chevrolet Camaro, showcased a front end that was completely unique and non-interchangeable with its corporate sibling. Unlike the Camaro's relatively simple two-headlight grille, the Firebird featured a sophisticated and elegant nose crowned by a chrome loop bumper that seamlessly surrounded four headlights. This design not only elevated the car's visual presence, but also emphasized practicality and style, setting the Firebird apart in a segment crowded with look-alike competitors. The front body panels, including the hood, fenders, and grille assembly, were entirely exclusive to the Firebird. No components could be swapped between it and the Camaro. This required Pontiac to invest in separate tooling, stamping, and assembly processes, underscoring their commitment to creating a distinct vehicle identity. The difference in dimensions and the attention to detail in the front-end styling contributed to a more upscale and refined appearance, distancing the Firebird from any perception of being a mere badge-engineered clone. By prioritizing individuality in such a highly visible area, Pontiac ensured that the Firebird projected sophistication and performance from the very first glance. This design decision reinforced the car's identity as more than just a cost-efficient variant of an existing model. The 14-second convertible secret. In the muscle car wars, talk is cheap, and manufacturer horsepower ratings were often pure fantasy. The ultimate proof of a car's potential was its quarter-mile time, published by respected magazines like Car and Driver. For the new Firebird 400 to be taken seriously against the Camaro SS 396 and the big block Mustangs, it had to put up serious numbers. And in 1967, it delivered in a big way. When Car and Driver got their hands on the new Firebird 400, they tested two of them. What makes their findings so shocking is that both test cars were convertibles. Due to the extra frame bracing, convertibles are significantly heavier than their coupe counterparts, which should have made them much slower, but the results were staggering. The magazine recorded 60-mile-per-hour times of 5.5 and 5.8 seconds. Phenomenal acceleration for the era. Then came the quarter mile. The heavier Firebird 400 convertibles laid down runs of 14.4 seconds at 100 miles per hour, and an even more impressive 14.0 seconds flat at 104 miles per hour. A 14 flat time placed the Firebird squarely in the elite tier of 1967 performance cars. This road test provided undeniable proof that the Firebird 400, even in its heaviest form, was an absolute beast and a legitimate threat on the street. The $63 performance upgrade. When configuring a high-performance machine like the Firebird 400, stopping power is just as important as horsepower. In the mid-1960s, standard drum brakes were notoriously prone to fading under heavy use, making high-performance driving a risky proposition. The advanced solution was front disc brakes, a technology still considered relatively new and often costly for mass-market cars. The Firebird 400, of course, offered them as an option. The truly mind-boggling part is the price. The option for front disc brakes cost just $63.19. To put that figure into perspective, let's look at other common add-ons from that same year. Air conditioning was a massive $355.98, nearly 6 times the price of the brake upgrade. Even a relatively simple comfort option like power windows cost $100.05, significantly more than this crucial safety and performance feature. Power steering was also more expensive at $94.97. This pricing strategy is astonishing. It meant that one of the most important components for making the Firebird 400 a true performance-handling car was accessible to almost any buyer. By pricing this essential technology so low, Pontiac ensured that the Firebird could be affordably equipped to handle the power of its V8, enhancing its appeal as a balanced and capable competitor right out of the box. Firebird's extensive color palette. The 1967 Pontiac Firebird offered buyers an impressive selection of 15 exterior paint colors, ranging from classic shades like Starlight Black and Regimental Red to more unique options such as Plum Mist, Signet Gold, and Silver Glaze. Each color came with a specific code, making it easier for buyers and dealerships to identify and order the exact finish desired. The diversity of hues went beyond simple primary colors, allowing owners to express individuality and style in a way that few competitors in the pony car segment matched. Shades like plum mist evoke a sense of elegance and depth, while names such as Marina Turquoise and Montego Cream suggest a more refined and sophisticated aesthetic. By providing these varied options, Pontiac positioned the Firebird as more than just a performance car. It was a statement vehicle for drivers seeking both style and personalization. This approach aligned the Firebird with slightly more upscale competitors, giving buyers the ability to stand out on the road and reflect their personality through color choice. The availability of such a broad palette also meant that the Firebird could appeal to a wider demographic, from traditional muscle car enthusiasts to buyers looking for a fashionable, distinctive coupe or convertible. This emphasis on color individuality reinforced Pontiac's commitment to design innovation, making the Firebird a visually compelling choice in a market crowded with more standardized, mass-produced options. Pontiac's third-place sales giant. When we talk about the Firebird's 1967 debut, it's easy to get tunnel vision on the direct rivalry with the Camaro and Mustang. But to understand the Firebird's real role, we need to look at the bigger picture, the massive American sales race. Pontiac was already a certified giant within General Motors, and the launch of an all-new car was intended to boost its divisional performance. In 1967, the year the Firebird launched, Pontiac successfully maintained its strong position, finishing third overall in U.S. sales. This was a highly respectable spot, proving the division's continued strength across its entire product line, including the popular GTO, Tempest, and full-size models. Pontiac sold a very healthy 782,734 vehicles that year. However, these sales figures also reveal the truly monumental scale of the competition Pontiac faced. That impressive third-place finish was still a very, very long way from Ford's second-place total. In 1967, Ford sold a staggering 1,730,224 units, more than double Pontiac's entire output. That success was overwhelmingly driven by the Mustang, which by itself outsold the combined 1967 sales of both the Firebird and the Camaro. While the Firebird 400 was a power performance machine, the new pony car still had a long way to go to make a significant dent in the huge market gap Pontiac faced against its main rival, Ford. Aggressive 3.90 final drive. The 1967 Firebird 400 tested by Car and Driver was equipped with a 3.90, one final drive ratio, a configuration that clearly emphasized performance. This steep rear axle ratio allowed the engine to multiply torque more aggressively, resulting in faster acceleration from a standstill. For every single rotation of the wheels, the driveshaft turned 3.9 times, a setup that maximized off-the-line performance and provided the Firebird 400 with the kind of launch ideal for drag strip testing. While highly effective for quick sprints, this gearing also meant higher engine RPMs at highway speeds, impacting fuel efficiency and cruising comfort, which demonstrates a deliberate trade-off in favor of raw performance. Coupled with the automatic transmission in the test vehicle, the 3.90:1 ratio played a pivotal role in achieving the Firebird 400's remarkable acceleration metrics, including 0 to 60 miles per hour times in the mid 5-second range and quarter-mile runs as low as 14.0 seconds. This precise setup highlights Pontiac's, or the magazine's, intent to showcase the car as a serious muscle car contender rather than a casual cruiser. By configuring the Firebird 400 this way, the test emphasized its capability to challenge contemporaries like the Camaro SS, offering a glimpse at the engineering decisions made to balance acceleration. Firebird's Ohio assembly debut. The first Pontiac Firebirds rolled off the assembly line at Lordstown, Ohio, in early January 1967, with the official release following on February 23. This initial production site is a detail that often escapes casual discussion, yet it provides meaningful context for the Firebird's introduction. Lordstown was one of General Motors' key assembly plants, known for handling a variety of Chevrolet and Pontiac models, and selecting it for the Firebird highlights General Motors' careful planning in managing the debut of its new F-body platform. Early January production allowed Pontiac to build up inventory ahead of the official launch, ensuring that dealerships were stocked for the highly anticipated sales period. The timing and location also reflect Pontiac's strategy to compete directly with the recently launched Chevrolet Camaro. By starting production slightly after the Camaro, Pontiac had a brief window to finalize assembly processes, confirm quality control measures, and make any adjustments specific to the Firebird's unique components, such as its distinct front-end styling and engine options. Lordstown's involvement also emphasizes the logistical coordination required within GM to bring a brand new model to market without disrupting ongoing production of other vehicles. 5 models from 2 bodies. When the Firebird launched, it offered 2 basic body styles, the hardtop coupe and the convertible. Simple enough. But Pontiac, under the marketing genius of John Z. DeLorean, chose to present the Firebird lineup to the public as 5 distinct models. This was a sophisticated marketing tactic designed to create an immediate sense of variety and hierarchy, making the Firebird lineup seem far more diverse than its competitors. This magic was achieved not through physical body changes, but through carefully packaged regular production orders, or RPOs. The 5 marketed models corresponded directly to the engine choice: the base OHC6, the high-performance Sprint 6-cylinder, the 326 V8, the 326 high-output V8, and, of course, the top dog Firebird 400. By bundling features with these engines, Pontiac could target completely different customers, from the driver who wanted sophisticated refinement to the enthusiast demanding pure brute force. Even as Pontiac's marketing team was successfully selling the public on 5 different models, the factory's own production records didn't track sales this way. Internally, they simply kept a tally of the total number of 6-cylinder models built versus the total number of 8-cylinder models built. Firebird 400 exhaust compromise. The Firebird 400's officially rated 325 horsepower was not just a result of corporate politics. It also reflected a practical engineering compromise dictated by the car's F-body architecture. While the engine was largely identical to the high-output 360 horsepower GTO 400, the Firebird's smaller engine bay imposed physical constraints that directly affected performance. Specifically, the design required the use of restrictive exhaust manifolds, which limited the engine's ability to expel spent gases efficiently. In internal combustion engines, optimal exhaust flow is crucial for maximizing horsepower, so any restriction inevitably reduces power output. This combination of mechanical necessity and corporate decision-making illustrates how design and business considerations intersected in the Firebird's development. The smaller F-body chassis, shared with the Camaro, dictated component packaging that engineers could not simply ignore. Even with the same block, carburetor, and internal components as the GTO's high-output engine, the Firebird's exhaust compromise resulted in a lower official rating. This technical limitation offered a legitimate explanation for the discrepancy between the Firebird 400 and its GTO counterpart, beyond the more commonly cited marketing-related carburetor tab. The outcome was a powerful yet slightly restrained muscle car engine that still offered impressive performance for the Firebird 400. The Smart Power Flex Fan. When you ordered the Firebird 400 package, you expected the big-ticket items. It came with the 400 V8, of course, plus heavy-duty sports suspension, dual exhausts, chrome engine dress-up parts, and those iconic dual-scoop hood emblems. But buried in the official list of package components is one particularly obscure and sophisticated piece of engineering: the PowerFlex variable pitch cooling fan. In the 1960s, most high-performance cars used a simple, rigid fan bolted directly to the engine's water pump. This fan spun at the same speed as the engine, and at high RPMs, like on the highway or during a quarter-mile run, it was spinning incredibly fast, even when it wasn't needed. This created a massive amount of parasitic drag, robbing the engine of valuable horsepower. The PowerFlex fan was Pontiac's clever solution. It was a smart fan, designed to reduce that drag, Whether through a fluid clutch or by actually changing the angle, pitch, of its blades, it could essentially freewheel or reduce its load on the engine when maximum cooling wasn't required. By saving the horsepower that would have been wasted just turning a dumb fan, it freed up more of the 400's power to be sent to the rear wheels. The Ram Air camshaft. The Firebird 400 Ram Air option represented the top-tier performance upgrade for 1967, and at the heart of this package was a highly specialized camshaft. This camshaft was designed to optimize the engine's breathing at high RPMs, allowing the 400 cubic inch V8 to make the most power possible. With an intake and exhaust lift of 0.413 inches and a valve overlap of 76 degrees, the cam timing pushed airflow efficiency to its limits, letting the engine achieve peak horsepower at 5,200 revolutions per minute. This was a significant increase over the standard 400 engine, showing that the Ram Air was built for speed rather than everyday drivability. The aggressive camshaft profile meant the Ram Air engine had a strong, responsive character at higher speeds, but it also produced a rougher idle and lower power at low RPMs. This trade-off highlighted Pontiac's focus on uncompromised performance for enthusiasts who prioritized track-ready acceleration over smooth street manners. The camshaft was paired with other upgrades, including the Ram Air hood scoops and optimized intake path, creating a package that extracted maximum potential from the engine. The inclusion of this specialized camshaft illustrates the depth of Pontiac's performance thinking and shows just how far the company went to create a true high-performance pony car. The Firebird's darker name. The name Firebird is iconic. It perfectly evokes a sense of speed, American mythology, and graceful power. It seems like the only name this car could have ever had. But the truth is, the 1967 Firebird was a last-minute runner-up, and the car's original identity was far darker and more aggressive. Right up until its debut, the car was slated to be called the Pontiac Banshee. This name was rooted in an earlier high-performance John Z. DeLorean concept car, and certainly fit Pontiac's muscular image. However, as the launch approached, General Motors management got nervous about that name's actual meaning. Banshee is a mystical creature from Irish mythology, was not exactly a positive symbol. The Banshee was a female spirit whose wailing, mournful cry was said to herald or symbolize impending death. This morbid association was deemed completely inappropriate and too aggressive for a mainstream car, aimed at the youth market. The decision was made to scrap the name immediately. Firebird was chosen instead, a name that still suggested power and mystique, but replaced the dark, ominous connotation with one of flight, beauty, and rebirth. It was a brilliant pivot that also happened to echo the name of General Motors' futuristic gas turbine concept cars. The Camaro clone myth. For decades, critics have dismissed the 1967 Firebird as, plain and simple, a badge-engineered Camaro. It's the most common criticism leveled at the car. The assumption has always been that Pontiac just took a Camaro, swapped the grille, dropped in their own engine, and rushed it to dealerships. This belief stems from the fact that both cars were famously born on the shared F-body platform. But that assumption is completely, factually wrong. When you actually examine the parts list, the level of commonality between the two cars is shockingly minimal. Pontiac went to great lengths and great expense to ensure their car was unique. The list of shared components isn't the major sheet metal you see. It's the foundational, structural, but invisible stuff. The glass, the floor pan, the inner rocker panels, the firewall, and only some of the chassis bracing. Every other exterior panel, the hood, the fenders, the rear valance, was unique. The entire interior, from the dashboard to the door panels, was unique. The suspension tuning was unique. And, as we know, the entire powertrain was pure Pontiac. This limited part sharing is precisely why automotive journalists at the time, and collectors today, report that driving a 67 Camaro and a 67 Firebird feels like driving two very different vehicles. Targeting the luxury market. The 1967 Firebird was not designed to compete solely on volume or price. General Motors deliberately positioned it above the Camaro in terms of market sophistication, targeting a more upscale, style-conscious buyer. While the Camaro directly challenged the high-volume Ford Mustang, the Firebird aimed to attract customers who were considering the Mercury Cougar and Plymouth Barracuda. These buyers were looking for a balance of performance and refinement, rather than simply raw acceleration or entry-level affordability. Pontiac leveraged its reputation as GM's excitement division to craft a car that offered a sense of premium design, thoughtful interior touches, and polished driving dynamics. This approach meant the Firebird 400 was meant to stand out in a growing niche of luxury pony cars. Its combination of aggressive V8 performance with stylish options and a more refined ride distinguished it from the Camaro, even though both shared the F-body platform. Pontiac's marketing strategy highlighted elegance, comfort, and exclusivity, appealing to buyers who valued the aura of sophistication alongside traditional muscle car thrills. This deliberate separation avoided direct competition with its sibling, while carving out a distinct identity for the Firebird in the market. Engine setback for balance. One of the Firebird's most profound yet subtle advantages over the Camaro wasn't its engine or its styling, but its timing. The Camaro was famously rushed to market, debuting a full 5 months before the Firebird officially went on sale in February 1967. Under DeLorean, Pontiac's engineers used that delay as a crucial window of opportunity. They studied the new F-body platform and benefited from critical engineering lessons that were learned too late to help the first-year Camaros. The most notable issue with pony cars, especially those optioned with heavy V8s like the Firebird 400, was poor weight distribution. They were notoriously nose-heavy, which negatively impacts handling, increases understeer, and makes the car feel clumsy in corners. Pontiac implemented a subtle but brilliant fix. They physically set the engines further back in the chassis, compared to the Camaro's placement. This small shift in location moved the car's center of gravity rearward, dramatically improving the front-to-rear weight balance. But they didn't stop there. Pontiac's team also addressed another problem found in the early F-bodies: axle wind-up under hard acceleration, which causes wheel hop. To combat this, the Firebird received standard rear traction bars, a critical handling component that the 1967 Camaro lacked. These two crucial chassis refinements meant the Firebird was a dynamically superior machine right from the start, reinforcing its image as the more sophisticated, well-engineered pony car. The delay that saved its soul. The 1967 Firebird was supposed to launch at the exact same time as the Chevrolet Camaro. General Motors' grand strategy was a simultaneous 1-2 punch to finally take down the Ford Mustang. But as the September 1966 launch date neared, one man, Pontiac President John Z. DeLorean, refused to play along. He understood that simply stamping Pontiac badges onto a Camaro clone would be a disaster, instantly diluting the brand's hard-won image for performance and innovation. In a politically risky move that defied corporate urgency, DeLorean delayed the Firebird's unveiling. The Camaro launched alone in the fall, while the Firebird was held back for a full 6 months, finally debuting in February 1967. This strategic pause was not a sign of trouble, it was the Firebird's saving grace. That extra time was crucial. It allowed Pontiac's engineers to get the presentation right by fully integrating the unique Pontiac powertrains, finalizing the sophisticated and non-interchangeable styling, and implementing key engineering improvements. This included setting the engines further back for better weight balance and adding standard traction bars, refinements the early Camaros lacked. Sales versus performance gap. Here is the necessary statistical reality check. Despite the advanced engineering, unique styling, and potent 400 V8, the 1967 Firebird was ultimately crushed by the Camaro in the sales race. The numbers don't lie. Pontiac generated strong sales of over 82,000 units in its debut year. This was considered a success, especially given its abbreviated season that only started in February 1967, and it proved the F-body program was viable. However, that impressive 82,000 plus figure was still only about half the sales volume of the Chevrolet Camaro. This seeming contradiction, a superior car selling half as much, was actually part of the corporate plan. The Firebird was never meant to be the high-volume champ. It was intentionally positioned upstream. The base hardtop started at $2,666, roughly $200 more than a base Camaro, placing it in a different bracket. This higher price point, combined with the fact that many buyers added luxury options like automatic transmissions and power steering, reinforces its true mission. The Firebird wasn't just built to beat the Camaro, it was built to steal customers from the luxury pony car field, like the Mercury Cougar. It was a performance killer, even if it wasn't a volume killer. The 1967 Pontiac Firebird stands out as a carefully engineered and strategically positioned performance vehicle from the aggressive 3.90. One final drive ratio that made the Firebird 400 a drag strip-ready powerhouse, to the surprising 6-month launch delay that allowed Pontiac to perfect its engineering and styling. Every detail reflects thoughtful design and planning. Even the original name, Banshee, hints at the bold vision Pontiac initially considered before opting for the iconic Firebird identity. These fascinating choices, along with unique features like the Rom Air camshaft and PowerFlex fan, show how Pontiac balanced performance, innovation, and brand identity, creating a car that remains legendary decades later.